Good morning. My name is Kim Van Fleet. I'm one of 3 important bird area coordinators with Audubon, Pennsylvania, the state office of the National Audubon Society. As you probably know, Audubon has enjoyed a productive relationship with Game Commission staff since we established the IBA program over 10 years ago. And it was the first in the nation to do so. To date, the Ornithological Technical Committee has recognized 85 important bird areas in Pennsylvania, and Audubon staff are actively working to promote projects and efforts at many of the locations to monitor and protect these areas. I regularly work with Commission staff to achieve our mutual goals of bird and habitat conservation. On behalf of our 30,000 members statewide, I am here today to ask for your support of science-based management of white-tailed deer and the eradication of feral swine. Audubon has welcomed the Game Commission's efforts to help reduce the impacts of historically overabundant white-tailed deer across the Commonwealth. We applaud the Commission for moving in the direction of a more science-based deer management program focused on indicators of forest health and deer health, and we are appreciative of your commitment to putting the long-term interests of interests of forested ecosystems and wildlife at the forefront of your decision-making. You have stood up for Pennsylvania's wildlife and habitat resources, and we are grateful. Audubon is actively working with landowners right now and other nonprofits at 2 important bird areas in southeastern Pennsylvania to manage deer more effectively and document the corresponding habitat recovery. We ask you to please support the staff recommendations to allow hunters to harvest more than 1 deer at a time before tagging the deer where multiple daily harvests are permitted in Wildlife Management Units 2B, 5C, and 5D. The additional tool will allow recreational hunters to be more effective in utilizing their antlerless tags for their intended purpose, controlling the population. Indeed, we would support expanding this useful practice to the rest of the Commonwealth. As you consider season and bag limits for the coming year, we urge you to continue the progress of recent years and use science to guide your policy-making decisions. We are concerned that the proposal to remove antlerless deer from the first 5 days of the fall rifle season in Wildlife Management Units 2D, 2G, 3C, and 4B is being offered without the science to justify the change. Less than a year ago, DCNR issued a report documenting the continued lack of regeneration on state forest lands in many of the areas affected by the proposed change. Now is not the time to limit the number of days available to hunters to harvest antlerless deer in these areas where habitat is poor and deer vulnerability is low. In the absence of scientific data demonstrating the need for this change, we ask you to please vote no on this proposal, or at the very least, table the recommendation until your next meeting, pending the public release of data supporting the change. As we have testified in the past, credible natural resource management must be based on science that is shared with the public. Changing species. We ask you to please do all you can to eliminate feral swine populations in Pennsylvania. Across the country, where these animals have established breeding populations, they outcompete birds and game species such as deer and bear for food. They prey on native species, severely restrict forest regeneration, destroy habitats, spread disease, damage agricultural crops, and threaten human safety. Yes, they are as bad as they sound. Unfortunately, feral swine have either escaped from game farms or have been deliberately released to the point where we now have breeding populations in 5 Pennsylvania counties. Audubon shares the concerns of our colleagues at the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy expressed in their paper, The Eradication and Prevention of Feral Swine in Pennsylvania. We join the Conservancy, other conservation groups, the agriculture industry, sportsmen's organizations, and state agency staff in calling for the immediate eradication of feral swine in Pennsylvania. While it may be counterintuitive, allowing incidental taking of feral swine during deer, bear, and turkey seasons will only exacerbate the spread of these destructive, dangerous animals. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture staff, hunters who pursue and shoot feral swine promote the dispersal of the populations into new areas. The negative impacts of pushing the hogs to new areas greatly outweigh any benefit of shooting one. Even though it's being referred to as incidental taking, shooting feral swine will no doubt be considered hunting and will only speed the development of a constituency of hunters who view them as desirable, culturally acceptable game animal. In other states, the existence of feral swine hunting advocates have greatly limited any chances of removing them from the wild. The Governor's Invasive Species Council took a step in the right direction by calling for a rapid response plan to deal with feral swine by April 1. We have a chance to stop this problem before it gets worse. or promoting a culture of hunting feral swine will make it much more difficult, if not impossible, to do so before it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you.